A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Lamport Stadium in Toronto. It is round 6 of the Kingston Press League One Super 8s and history beckons at the Den. Nigel Reid alongside Brian Noble, MBE, in the booth as the Toronto Wolfpack aim to clinch promotion in their expansion year against the Barrow Raiders. The weather is set fair, hardly a cloud in the sky, light winds and a big crowd building for this potential title decider between the top two teams, as you can see in the league table, the Super 8s, 2 rounds to go. So Toronto Wolfpack know that a win or a tie today against the Barrow Raiders and they will be assured of the League One Championship trophy. It's gleaming, it's shiny, and it is here against Barrow, who would have to win today and win their final match and hope that the Wolfpack slip up. But that's a conversation perhaps for another day. A win or a tie for the Wolfpack will be enough to call themselves the League One champions and to lift that marvellous bowl. Round 6 fixtures, the Wolfpack and the Raiders coming up in just a few minutes. The remaining Super 8s games takes place tomorrow. Doncaster against Newcastle, the Keighley Cougars against Workington Town, and Whitehaven, who were here last week and gave the Wolfpack a run for their money, at home to the York City Knights. So those are the remaining round 6 fixtures. Paul Rowley, the head coach, the master tactician. Well, this is what he's worked for as he stands there patiently in the sunshine. Dispassionately as well, Brian, because he knows that his players are 80 minutes away from fulfilling the goal.
But the script writers have got it right, haven't they, Nigel? Because they've brought a team here that's in second place, just 2 points on the league ladder. So a really, really meaningful and competitive game to ensure that Coach Rowley has to get the tactics right. So
still missing Briley and Bailey, pretty much full strength, featuring the Player of the Year nominees Craig Hall and Bob Bezic, and QLT at fullback scored a hat-trick against Barrow the last time they were here in May in a 70-2 whitewash on the interchange, the bench if you like. Adam Sidlow, Gary Wheeler, Sean Penkovic, we'll see plenty of him, and Dan Fleming. So pretty much a full-strength Wolfpack team ready to do battle and maybe to make a little bit of history. Now, the Raiders, well, there have been some gains and some losses, if you like, since the last time they were here back in May. Ezzy Harper is on loan from the Sheffield Eagles. Max Wiper ready to make his first appearance of the season. Dallimore, Morrow, Aspinall and Krellin all missed that earlier trip, but they are back today. Ezzy Harper back on loan again. 11 tries for Barrow last season, 7 more this season. He will start on the wing for the Raiders today. As the crowds continue to file in the sunshine, the north end, of course, where all those craft beer tents are. Now, as far as the Raiders are concerned, where they're still without the likes of Fieldhouse, Carter, Hume and Shane Toll, Lewis Charnock shifts to fullback, and as we said, a first appearance of the season for Max Wiper in the centre, that after coming off knee ligament surgery pre-season. So Paul Crowley ready to throw him in and essentially see how long he lasts. Shane Toll isn't here, but his brother Dan is, along with Nathan Mossop, Tom Walker and James Duerden. So Paul Crowley not quite at full strength, but he knows that his Barrow Raiders don't necessarily have to win today to get their job done. They will have perhaps another opportunity. John McMullen is our referee, the man in yellow, as we await the entrance of the teams. And as we just anticipate these remaining seconds, Brian, before the game starts, the players in the tunnel, they're nervous, there's that nervous energy. As far as the Wolfpack are concerned, they've come this far. What do those players have to do over the next 80 minutes to get over the finishing line?
Well, they have to treat it like it's, which it is, the biggest game of the season and a grand final in essence. I think they're mentally they have to be good and do the small things right, be determined, look after the ball better than they have been doing. But they're against a Barrow team that, whilst they're missing a few people, they have a fabulous record themselves. You know, they're well in this game, and the depth of their squad enables them to change people around.
Very true. I mean, just look at that record in the Super 8s. They're actually better than the Wolfpack, 5-0 in the playoffs. A couple of stumbles, the only defeats, and a tie for the Wolfpack, but they've steadied the ship since then as those white jerseys come out to warm applause from Another bumper crowd, and the she-wolves here as well. They're expecting 7, maybe 8,000 here today. And there's the man on whom so much depends, Brian, Captain Craig Hall, a great influence on this team.
He is, but he's icing on the cake, and the proof of the cake today will be that they've all got to play well to get over this Barrow team.
So the teams are lined up at centre field. Time for the formalities of the national anthems of the United Kingdom and Canada, and we will be underway in just a couple of moments at Lamport Stadium.
Fans, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats for the national anthems of both the United Kingdom and Canada. Performing the anthems this afternoon, would you please welcome Rhiannon Charles.
Rhiannon Charles with a passionate rendition of both God Save the Queen and Oh Canada, Adam Sidlow. You wouldn't want to get in the way of him on a dark night unless you were driving a truck in the opposite direction. Barrow, all in blue, will kick from left to right in this first half against the league-leading Toronto Wolfpack. 80 minutes away from automatic promotion and the Rugby League Championship in year 2. QLT, and there is Fui Fui Moi Moi prowling around the goalposts. If you haven't seen him play, you are in for a treat. As Barrow get us away, kicking towards the lake, and QLT, Quentin Laulu Togagai, with the early catch at fullback. And something we'll often talk about over the course of the next hour and 20 minutes is sets of 6. If you're new to rugby league, the general aim, certainly in the early stages, is to complete your set of 6. You get 6 chances to get as far up the field as you can. Often you will see on the last tackle that if you are not in a try-scoring position, you will kick for position to get it as far away as you can. But I'm sure you've watched this game enough now to be familiar. That's Jake Emmett right on halfway.
Well, early indications that both teams are up for this game. Barrow flying out with a great defensive speed and defensive line, and the Wolfpack having to ruck the ball out of their own end and kick the ball into the... See what Barrow have got to offer now.
Ezzy Harper, talked about him pre-game. Went back to Barrow this year, given a chance, having made an impression last year. Can play both on the centre and on the wing. But the Raiders just a little short-handed. And so Harper starts this game on the left wing with Tom Loxham on the right wing. We'll see handy of him as well. Loxham making his first appearance since June. Starts on the right-hand side for the Raiders.
Well, you mentioned the size of the Wolfpack team. I have to tell you, this Barrow team doesn't lack size either. Bullock in the middle has had a terrific season himself. Again, he's nominated for an award in the awards, and Oliver Wilkes' experience. A bit of pressure here from the Wolfpack, and ball back, play on.
Greg Wellington picks it up, picks up the late Blake Wallace, accepts the challenge from Danny Morrow. And here, a first chance to run for Liam Kay, one of the Wolfpack's leading try scorers this season. Bob Bezic finds Jake Emmett into the challenge. 3 tackles gone. They're just past that 20-metre mark. Bezic at dummy half goes right to Jack Bussey. Now Fui, Moi, breaks 1, breaks 2, and then drops the ball. And the turnover in favour of the Raiders.
Well, clumsy play from Fui there, losing the ball. I think the play before, Jake Emmett copped one around the head as well, so he was whinging, but, well, good defence from Barrow.
Carl Ashall, the hooker at dummy half. As now it's the Raiders' turn to clear their lines, get as far away. Here you are. Here's what happened with Fui, Moi a moment or two ago.
Yeah.
Just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Dropped
He
his
went to
shopping
ground.
basket.
He did. So the Raiders, who, as we mentioned pre-game, have actually done marginally better than the Wolfpack in the Super 8s through 5 rounds. They have won all 5 of those games. Today, of course, you would have to say, Brian, is the acid test for the Cumbrians.
Well, this is a big matchup for our viewers.
Sure.
This is 1v2. The script writers have got it right. It's all on.
Craig Hall fends off a couple of challenges, accepts the challenge of his opposite number, Captain Oliver Wilkes. Hall is the Wolfpack captain and leader on and off the field, the leading try scorer, the leading goal kicker in the league as well. Bezic over halfway. 4 tackles gone. Can they get themselves into a threatening position from here? This is Andrew Dixon. Took 2 to stop him. This is the last tackle. Maybe something from the foot this time. It is indeed Blake Wallace. An up and under. A little tester for Harper. Taken down by Captain Hall.
Great catch. They were practicing kicking to that corner. If you, those are not aware, the sun is shining directly into the corner there for the boy Harper to try and catch it, which he did, and Hall came up, which he did. Hall came up with the tackle.
Up to the 20-metre line, but already halfway through the tackle count. I don't know whether you recall this, Brian, but when these two came together back in May, it was actually Barrow who put the first points on the board. They ended up losing by 70 points to 2, but on that occasion they actually scored an early penalty and they actually led by 2-0. We'll see. QLT runs straight into the forceful challenge of Danny Morrow. Now Kay at dummy half, over halfway. 3 of them drag him down.
Geez, had a good season though for the Wolfpack, as Liam Kay
Really has caught the eye. And so clever, particularly when it comes to getting the ball down in the corners. He has a way of twisting and turning. He's like a slippery eel. And then QLT, a mistake, a knock on. And Harper, a chance to run towards halfway for the Raiders. So a couple of fumbles in the early going from the Wolfpack. Yeah.
Penalty and an error and penalty. It's been a bit of a blight for the Wolfpack this year and allowing teams, but QLT needs to do better there. Recovered the ball, and then we see Bussey and Hall adjudicated to have given a penalty away against Stack.
So the penalty, they will kick for position, and Barrow will get another set of 6 from the Wolfpack 30-metre line. In quickly, Joe Bullock. Again, one of the main men, and no surprise that he's one of the nominees for the League One Player of the Year. 8 tries, but a real rock. Now, has the ball been released? The referee's given it the way of the Raiders, I believe.
It's another penalty.
Yeah.
If you give the dog a bone, they'll take it eventually, so they've need to clean their act up a little bit there, the Wolfpack.
On an Aspinall with Jake Emmett all over him. and they're right on the door. Can they get the first score again? Out to Jamie Dallimore. That's the try line. They're just, what, 2 or 3 meters short. Wilkes. Now the ball's come loose again. And Wilkes questioning the referee's decision-making. Scrum down, says Mr. McMullen.
Well, he's not happy, is he, Oliver Wilkes? Vastly experienced, lots of super leg experience from this from Oliver, and gets pushed back, and here we see he just dropped that one. Good call from the referee.
I'll call it, Jamie. Heads in. Fine. Out.
So the Wolfpack a chance to move away from their line, but
well, that's a penalty or a high tackle. It's difficult to argue against that one. Greg Worthington with a good carry. Watch this, takes it into the line, and yeah, Morrow adjudicated to have hit him around the head.
Big kick up to almost to halfway. Quickly on with it, Bezic and Emmett. 3 of them take him down on halfway. Bezic at dummy half. He has Worthington and Kay outside him. How many times have we talked about Greg Worthington and his ability to stay on his feet in the tackle, keep the ball alive. Wallace for Fui, Moi. Oldest player on the field, but you'd never know it. Still a pure athlete. Ball's gone. A pause from the Barrow players. Does he let it go again?
Well, he's saying Fui let go of it.
Yeah.
I don't think he would intentionally do that.
Well, that's twice in the first 5 minutes.
It's the shopping basket the first time and the groceries the second. There you go, he's fighting to gain meters after contact. The referee calls held.
Haspel and Ashall were all over him like a rash, and finally caused the error.
Guys, make sure you're putting it ready. No, hey, guys, let's form it properly. We know how to do it.
Let's form it properly, says Mr. McMullen. As we said on the broadcast last week, we're not quite so sure there's any such thing as a proper scrum in rugby league anymore.
Guys, I'll put time off. I don't need you arguing. All I need you to do is...
Well, I think the referee's trying to sort out the fact that somebody might be actually pushing in a scrum. Wow, that's a novelty.
Tight. Time's on. Out.
Away we go. Ashall, a dummy half, and another whistle.
I've got it. Jack.
Another penalty.
That's 2. Calm down.
Jack Bussey with the high tackle again, and the referee, you may have heard, said that's 2, and warning Jack Bussey to calm down.
We see clear the pitches. It's open palmed, and he's stretching, trying to make the tackle. No doubt he touches the head and contacts the head, but not sure it was malicious.
Coming up to the 10-minute mark, no score between the top 2 teams in the Kingston Press League One. The Toronto Wolfpack in white, Barrow Raiders in blue. Today is the day that the Wolfpack have worked all season for. They know that a win or even a tie will be enough to get them over the finishing line, to claim the League One trophy, which is here, and make sure that the Raiders go into the playoff semi-finals. They could still be promoted, and the chances are the Raiders will finish second. They're coming forward here with good intent. That's Cresswell just inside.
Knock on there, boy.
No, they created an opening there, didn't they?
Yeah, it was Cresswell, and the ball was just...
Well, Morrow had gone down the sideline. I think it was, yeah, Cresswell makes a break. He's got people on his outside, wants to hit
find
Stack on his inside,
yeah.
and just spooked Stack a little bit. Came early and just couldn't quite gather it in, or he was under the sticks.
It was the right idea from Cresswell. He knew that Stack had a little bit of an opening, but it came at him like an Exocet missile, and Stack couldn't just gather it in pace.
Well, it's an indication of the danger that Barrow possesses.
Head and feed for the Wolfpack. Craig Hall up to his own 20-metre line before he's felled by 2 or 3 blue jerseys.
You've gone 3 metres though. You've gone 3 metres though.
Penalty to the visitors again. Referee's whistle has been much in evidence these first 10 minutes.
You know, that's a bit harsh, that. I think he got pulled forward by the Barrow defender, but he's not allowed to move off the mark, and he's clearly gone forward 3 metres there. And so if we watch this in contact, so he's trying to make meters and make meters, gets to the ground, so the tackle's completed there. Now it's whether or not Well, we didn't quite see the end of it. So.
Joe Bullock, meanwhile, doesn't care about that. All he cares about is barreling his way in the other direction as quickly as he can. Offloads to Wilkes. Wilkes is brought down 3, 4, perhaps 5 meters short, no more than that. Aspinall took Bussey and Emmett to stop him. Threatening again. Charnock. He's pretty close. He's just a meter, and there's a penalty coming. Once again in favour of the Barrow Raiders.
Another penalty. Well, that penalty count now must be 5-1 or 5-2, which is hard work in this afternoon sunshine. You can't afford to be doing this too much time.
So tap and go, and off go the Raiders again, this time with Stack. He has Loxham outside him on the right wing. And he has Carl Ashall at dummy half. They go left. Bullock. Down he goes. 4 tackles to go. 7 meters short of the Wolfpack try line. They're closer. They've got 3 tackles to go. They're no more than a meter short. Thought about the little kick. Went outside, knocked on. It's all going to come to a sorry end.
Well done, Johnny Pownall. Spotted the danger because they were outnumbered there. The Barrow were creating an overlap on that left-hand side, which is real dangerous. And that's why the Wolfpack are congratulating Johnny Pownall, because they created the extra player had Barrow. They went to the outline, beat Craig Hall with the pass. Johnny Pownall had to make that tackle, and not indeed made the tackle, but forced an error as well. Bit of relief here for the Wolfpack.
Well, it was Max Wiper who collected and then ran straight into Pownall, who, as you say, correctly forced the error. Wiper couldn't hang on to it. A little bit rusty. He hasn't played this season. But there was a real opportunity there for the Raiders to get in on the left-hand corner. As it turns out, it's the white shirts of the Toronto Wolfpack who come away from the scrummage with 6 more tackles. Bezic at dummy half. QLT. There's a little dancing feet. Here comes Craig Hall. Manages to fend off 2 or 3. He's grabbed by the scruff of the neck in the end by Ollie Wilkes.
That's a good break from Craig Hall. Relieving break.
Wallace looking for the chink in the blue armour.
Adjudicated that Bullock dropped on the tackle there, and 2 made the complete tackle, and then the 3rd person comes in and goes kaboom on. Or Bullock's not one of the innocents. It's that 3rd man there. It's Dallimore that jumps on and gives the penalty away.
Emmett for Fui, moi, moi. Like a bull in a china shop.
10 meters.
3 of them finally took him down inside the 20-meter mark. Here they go again. That's Rich Whiting, scored 2 tries last weekend. Really set them on the way against Whitehaven. Emmett, 3 meters short. 3 tackles to go. Jacks. They're moving it wide this time. QLT in the corner. And the first score on the board, I promise you this isn't scripted. He scored a hat-trick when Barrow were here in May. He opens the scoring today, and the Wolfpack lead by 4-0.
Well, it's created by having a little bit of patience at that end of the field, making sure that they were stable. Emmett took the ball in. Another carry from Whiting early on, and then QLT at fullback comes out of the back door. So he's the player outside the back that creates the man. So he gets on the outside of Stack, I think it is. He gets on the outside and squeezes himself over the line. Yeah, Jared Stack is the man. He runs around, is trying to defend him in the centre there, but too much speed there, QLT, and after a lot of pressure, they're over the line.
First to congratulate him, interestingly, was Liam Kay, who was the next man in line, who'd have expected at that part of the field for Kay to go rolling over, but QLT backed his own pace and his own skill.
Well, part of Kay's job is to make sure that his winger's engaged, so he has to push really hard on the ball carrier so that the winger can't fly in and stop QLT.
154 goals and counting for Craig Hall. His first attempt of the afternoon from almost out on this near touchline. Difficult angle. It's right over that left stick, but they've given it to him. And that's a great kick. Just judged it perfectly. Almost floated wide of the left stick. But the Touchies raise their flags.
Come on, Craig.
And Craig Hall adds the extras.
Well, there's Jacks out to Wallace, all through the pivots, and QLT just takes Jared Stack on and beats him for pace. Here we go. Jacks, Wallace, QLT says, I've got a bit of space here. Too much to do there, Jared Stack. He jumped in on the play.
Celebrations, they expect them to be early and often here. That's what they've got used to, the Wolfpack fans. 19 tries for the season for QLT. Blake Wallace, safe pair of hands under the kickoff. So a little bit of nervousness eased. It took the Wolfpack a quarter of an hour to get on the board, but they're up and running now. Wallace again.
We found out in recent weeks, haven't we, that there are no guineas as a penalty.
You've got it, Joe.
You're right, you called it. It is a penalty. And now everybody wants to have their opinion.
I think the boy Bullock has shortened Fooey up there with a bit of a chin massage. And if we watch this, Wallace drops Fooey back on the inside. And is it Bullock here?
Wilkes the first one.
Oh,
and then
yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. And then Bullock with a flying
Trying to
arm.
give him a bit of dentistry for free.
Well, it's certainly not the first time, and it won't be the last time that Fooey Moy feels the force.
Well, he won't complain. He gives it out, so
there you go.
He's every right to take it.
Tap and go. Jake Emmett to 30-metre line.
Yeah, I thought he dropped the ball there.
Did he?
Yeah. I thought he did, yeah.
Referee spotted it as well. And Emmett walks away somewhat disconsolately.
Let's have a look. Yep. He'd be complaining that it's pulled out.
That's 3 or 4 handling errors in the opening 17 minutes from the Wolfpack. They lead.
It's warm out there, doesn't it?
Well, it's not as warm as it has been. I mean, in September, it's sort of in the late teens. It's probably a little warmer down at field double. But then again, Brian, neither you or I have got to run around for 80 minutes.
I'd love to. They won't let me anymore. It'll be embarrassment.
I don't think so.
This is a super crowd, by the way.
Really is gathering pace nicely. Ashall at dummy half as the blue-shirted Barrow Raiders look for a bay back into this. First against second, the Wolfpack against the Raiders. Wolfpack unbeaten at Lamport Stadium, the Den, all season. 2 more home games to come, including this one. Next week, Doncaster, to complete an unbeaten home stretch. Bullock again.
He's carried the ball well, hasn't he, Bullock? Well for Barrow. Maspin Wall, fantastically experienced Super League player for many, many years. Great player. That's a good line.
Finds Morrow. Emmett couldn't stop him. Liam Kay.
Turn over there, boys. Big tackle.
Turnover. And they almost got there. But they ran out of tackles. Simple as that at the end of the day.
That's a couple of opportunities that Barrow have had down this left-hand side of the Wolfpack and their right-hand side. Morrow's gone straight through. He's looking for someone else to help him with the pass. He beats Emmett. Doesn't quite beat QLT.
Shoot! Move!
It's always the problem, as we said, if you're new to this game. Once it comes to the 6th and final tackle, you need to make a decision. If you haven't got a line to the try line, then you want to try and kick, try and find some support, try and keep the ball alive, try not to get tackled. But that was the occasion that time. Pownell for Dixon. Tackled by Morrow. A little grubber kick ahead by Blake Wallace. It'll run out of play. Scrum down, but in a dangerous position inside the Raiders' 10 metres.
Wallace has gone for safety there. He's kicked for a sideline. You know, they've had to ruck the ball out. Barrow are aiming up. Both these teams are aiming up. It's got all the ingredients.
Well, I suppose you can make an argument, Brian, that had the Wolfpack not been the expansion team in 2017, that Barrow Raiders would have every right to say we were the best team in this league until these upstarts came along.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And statistically, that would be true as well.
Well, I mean, second and third has been pretty close between those two Cumbrian rivals, Barrow and Whitehaven, most of the year. But there is now a Canadian franchise in the mix, which may not be in League One next season. And a win today will make sure that that is the case, because in the 3 tiers of English rugby, they'll be up into the middle tier of the championship. Bussey and Whiting. But not to the liking of the referee.
Let's have a look. Stack carries the ball, goes into contact. It's perfectly legitimate. Bezic tries to get a few of his ribs to finish the tackle off. I think he winded him.
Move, 10 metres, Jack.
Off the interchange, Tom Walker there, wearing number 17.
It's good line speed from the Wolfpack there. Bullock certainly had to aim up. There's Aspinwall as well, who's used to jabbing in and around the ruck. Pretty simple game plan. Oh, fell over.
Almost.
He's hurt his ankle.
Yes, he has. He's stayed down, actually.
4, with me.
Bullock is fouled by 3. Just short of halfway. Now the referee's going to give a penalty to the Barrow Raiders here. Meanwhile,
let's have a look here. So Bullock's in at the tackle. Bezic, Moi. Stop the ball, twist him. Perfectly good, okay. Adjudicate the middle, too much wrestle there from Bob Bezic. So Bob Bezic's trying to get on top of Joe Bullock and command him on the floor and make sure he can't get up quickly, but the referee's adjudicated that's a little bit too long.
So just short of halfway. Some running repairs go on the field, as you can see there. 21 minutes gone. It is round 6 of the Super 8s, the penultimate round.
Oliver Wilkes has left the field for the Barrow team. The boy Walker, Tom Walker's on now. See what he's got to offer.
Big boy Tom Walker, 6'2", his first season with Barrow. Previously experienced with Workington. Once again, Joe Bullock, that imposing figure. Emmett, Fui, Moi, and Bezic all surrounding him to pull him down. Danny Morrow's had plenty of the ball in this first half as well.
He's been game, hasn't he?
Carl Ashall at dummy half, looking right. Worthington effects the tackle. Morrow again, looking left, this time for Charnock. They almost created the overlap 10 minutes ago. But for a saving tackle from Johnny Pannell, they might have opened the scoring as they go right this time.
They certainly fancy this right side, don't they?
Tom Loxham looking for the gap, can't find one. He's stopped by Emmett. Ashall at dummy half. Charnock looking for the little rubber kick through. Bezic started it. Now, is that a knock on? Is that what the referee's saying?
That's what he's saying. Bob Bezic knocks on.
Yeah.
Cute little kick from Charnock, put him under pressure. Yeah.
He didn't collect it cleanly. Saw the blue boots coming in just momentarily, just took it. There it is, right there. And Walker was all over him.
He couldn't do nothing for sure.
So a chance once again for the Raiders, who are just about on the 10-meter line. Referee again unhappy with the pack down. Let's try and do it properly, says Mr. McMullen. Here's a chance, a real chance. As Cresswell goes left. That's how close they are. Can they score this time? They're trying to get it down. They're trying to keep him on his back. That's Tom Walker.
Held up.
Tom Walker held up. That's good defense by the Wolfpack. Back to 10 meters they go. But still 4 tackles to go. Still opportunities here. As they feed it along the line, looking for that gap in itself. Danny Morrow again.
He's had a big impact in his first half, hasn't he, Morrow?
He really has. Ashall at dummy half. They'll go left. Can they find the gap? 3 against 3. They come back inside, but just into more white traffic in the form of Fui, Moi. 5, says the referee. This is the last tackle. They've got to do something now. Looking for the little chip across. He kept it alive for the time being.
Well defended.
But finally, the turnover, and Liam Kay
Well done, Liam Kay. Andrew
will
Dixon.
help clear the danger for the Wolfpack. But once again, Brian, Barrow threatening that Toronto try line. QLT finds Whiting. Dumped to the ground. My word. I think that was a flyby. I hope it was. Can't see them, but we can certainly hear them in the background. We heard some jets fly over Lamport Stadium. Johnny Pownell.
I hope it was a jet or the washing machine's broken.
Collected by Ezzy Harper.
Well, that wasn't the best set from the Wolfpack. A little bit scruffy there.
Up to
Bit
halfway.
of kick pressure on what they did.
If you're wondering what the noise was all about, by the way, I can confirm it was some Canadian Air Force jets flying over. Just a couple of 100 meters south of us is the soccer stadium, BMO Field, where Toronto FC are playing today. And it is Armed Forces Day down there. So it all kind of makes sense. Meanwhile, back at the Den, 25 minutes gone. 15 minutes to go to the break, and the ball comes loose again. It's going to be a Barrow penalty. Dan Toll on from the interchange. His brother Shane not here.
It's another penalty from the Wolfpack, and Emmett and Dixon are due to strip the ball there. It's hard to argue against it as well.
On the Wolfpack 10-meter line. That's Dan Toll. Oh, and they might be in here. Sidlow did a good job. Got some help from Sean Penkovic, who's also on from the interchange. So fresh legs on, and fresh legs probably needed, because once again Barrow are threatening that Wolfpack try line. Here we go again. Joe Bullock, another illustration, Brian, of his prowess and his
Big
ability,
boy,
his
isn't he?
strength,
And he keeps coming.
his determination.
No nonsense. He's not.
Nathan Wassop also on from the interchange, wears 9. Finds Tom Walker. Once again, they're threatening that line. Mossop threatened to go one way, goes the other way. Can they get it down? That's Jamie Dallimore. He's right there. He's knocking on the Wolfpack door. Charnock. Emmett stuck to his guns. 3 tackles to go.
That's route 1 at the moment for Barrow.
They're getting within inches, but they can't get the ball across the try line. Maybe they will this time. Bezic this time, along with Rhys Jacks, doing his defensive duties to stop Brad Trellin, the second rower.
Wow. Wow. Well, they can't do that all afternoon, the Wolfpack. Barrow are just going to grind their way. They ain't going to be pretty. They're going to try and barge their way over the line. But you have to say, the Wolfpack are giving them every opportunity at the moment to put them under pressure.
They're doing a terrific job, but they want to see some reward for their efforts. Liam Kay slams into a challenge, trying to clear the danger and relieve the pressure for the Wolfpack, because Barrow are giving them everything they can handle right now. QLT, Rich Whiting juggled it but held on to it on that right-hand side. It'll be Craig Hall at dummy half. But there's an injury here.
I think it's the Barrow defender.
Just under that challenge.
It's Harper, is it?
Jamie
No, it's
Dallimore.
Jamie Dallimore.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
And Rich Whiting comes down on top of you.
He got a smack on the snors.
I think you're going to feel it. Here we are. Here's what's happened.
There's the juggle.
Whiting,
There's the
Dallimore,
tackle.
bang, and then he just lands right on top of him.
I
I
think
think
his own player.
And then his own player. Yeah, that's right. That's James Jordan, by the way. So all the Raiders interchange players have now seen some field time. Those being Mossop, Walker, Jordan.
Okay, Jamie. Tackle 4. Play ball there. Time on, play ball, tackle 4.
Time on, says the referee, so on we go again. Emmett,
5.
using his strength
Hold your line here. Oh, Morrow,
to
Morrow.
earn the Wolfpack a couple of hard yards.
Outside.
The up and under, this time from Rhys Jacks. It's high. It's collected comfortably.
Well done, Cresswell.
Well done, Luke Cresswell, indeed.
Great catch.
Doesn't often play fullback, but he's got a safe pair of hands when asked to do so.
10 metres. Hold.
More often used as a winger, Cresswell. Harper. Away come Barrow again. You know what? You get the feeling as this game evolves, Brian, that they're really up for this challenge.
Why wouldn't you be?
Well, you would be.
A nice trip to
Of course you
across
would
the
be.
Atlantic, and you're second in place, and you're there to spoil the
oh
party,
my.
and all of those things is great motivational factors for this team in blue, for sure.
Well, nobody took the responsibility momentarily for dummy half. Eventually, finally, somebody picked it up, and on we go. It's good stuff. Yeah,
It's good stuff.
Again, let's have a look. Jarrett's tack picks up the loose ball.
Well, that started with Bezic firing himself out of a gun, and then Penkovic firing himself out of a gun and putting under pressure, keeping the shape behind that keep pressure so they couldn't spook. So the danger here is that Bezic doesn't get him and he gets away, but he doesn't, because Penkovic is next. He forces the error. They're fumbling around with the ball. Here comes Jacks as well, Bob Wallace, Worthington, and they clean the play up. Earn themselves some field position.
So the Wolfpack in Raiders territory, leading by just that QLT score and a Craig Hall conversion. That's all there is between them. Here's QLT again, the try scorer. Dancing feet, dropping of the shoulder, trying to confuse and bamboozle their opponents. Sean Penkovic accepts the challenge there, 15 metres short. Emmett.
Oh, get that into you. He dropped the ball. He's giving a penalty for a strip.
Jordan wasn't having any of it.
Jordan will give him a right. See you later. Boom. Get that into you. He's adjudicated. He stripped the ball. Watch this. Get this on your screen. This is box office. You get that into you.
Emmett's come straight to the sideline, by the way, as a result of that challenge.
Big Dan Fleming takes his place. Craig Hall going for goal here.
Something you rarely see. In this position, you would expect them to run it, but maybe it's that close a game.
Playoff football.
Yeah, there you go. Just put the points on the board. Just eke yourself out a bit of a lead. As you can see, referee motioning, the touchies come in from the sidelines.
Well, just for our new viewers,
yeah.
He's given a 2-score lead to the Wolfpack in essence, so this 2 points means that Barrow have to get over the chalk on 2 occasions to go in front of the Wolfpack, so it gives them a little bit of breathing space and helps them to rebuild their game plan with their restart.
So Craig Hall doesn't need reminding the importance of this kick. It's dead simple for him. And it is a 2-score game, because with that penalty, the Wolfpack lead by 8 points to 0. Half an hour gone at the Den. 10 minutes to half-time. On a day when the Wolfpack can clinch automatic promotion to the Rugby League Championship, the 2nd tier.
Yeah, I think a bit hard done to there, Barrow. I think Emmett may have just dropped that ball.
So Hall, a conversion and a penalty. The points continue to pile up for the Wolfpack captain.
Another big man, Sidler, on the field. Oh, big human being. Fui's rejoined him on the field now for Emmett, so plenty of pace and size. Dan Fleming off the bench as well.
There is Dan Fleming straight into the action. As I mentioned, after that Fui challenge, it was noticeable that Emmett immediately made his way to the sidelines. Up to halfway. Wallace, then Dixon for QLT at dummy half, and that's a little bit untidy, but it went backwards, so Sidlow's allowed to play on. Little grubber kick. Oh, look at that from Craig Hall.
Nearly got it in, didn't get it in.
Quite pull it in, because if he had done, it would have been a straight run to the line, but it just bounced away from Hall's fingertips and a knock on.
Couldn't bring it in, could he? Not a kick from Adam Sidlow.
How about that? A little bit of football from the big man. Look at that.
It's got away. Cresswell might have cleaned him up anyway, but
He may have, well, he'd have had to. But it's all for naught. It was that close, that close.
Barrow were showing their prowess for sure. They've aimed up, they got dug in. They've had a lot of possession at the Wolfpack end, and they've had to defend well, the Wolfpack, to keep them out.
Tom Walker's getting some running repairs. In fact, both physios are on the field at the moment, so various players carrying bumps and bruises. There's Craig Hall's contribution as far as the Super 8s are concerned, but as far as the overall season, 24 tries. Leading the way alongside Liam Kay with 24. Johnny Pownell on the other wing has 21. QLT, including today's touchdown, has 19. So it's a little race within a race here to finish as top try scorer for the Wolfpack. Leading contenders would be Hall, Kay and Pownell. As the physios depart the field. Mr. McMullen, okay, let's go, says the referee. Fui, moi, moi. None shall pass. Bussey was there as well to stop Krellin. Max Wiper plays the ball.
Carry.
Carry indeed by Jordan, who was half of that big challenge on Emmett a few moments ago. Dixon and Wallace combining to stop Morrow this time, as the Raiders look to get over halfway, but that's one tackle to go, and they've only got to halfway. Probably they're going to have to kick this time. Do so.
That was a good tough set from Barrow, and they found the sideline and nearly
in the
found
field.
That's not a bad
QLT
thing. The kick chase is great.
Will bring it away. Evades 3 challenges. Wonderful skill from QLT. Outside for his captain. Craig Hall over the 20-metre line. Eventually they will maul him to the ground, but well rescued by the Wolfpack.
Yeah, they scrambled well with Barrow to make the play on Hall, because he was in a bit of space that QLT had given him.
Liam Kay, always ready to get those legs pumping, kept the play alive, finds Penkovic over halfway for the Wolfpack. His QLT was bursting through, and my word, Danny Morrow did well to stop him. Penkovic again. As the Wolfpack begin to find some rhythm. Sidlow at dummy half for Wallace, inside 1. Last tackle, Dan Fleming dummy half. Which way is he going? Worthington has Kay outside him. Little kick,
well on Cresswell.
Picked up by Luke Cresswell.
He was well positioned, wasn't he?
He was.
Smart little kick from Worthington, but Cresswell read it well and cleaned it up.
Deep position from which to find an exit strategy for the Raiders, though. Already 2 tackles gone, and that's their own try line. And that's 3 gone. They're still inside their 10-metre area. Trailing 8-0. QLT's try, conversion by Hall, penalty by Hall. It's a 2-score game. Barrow needs something before the interval. That's 5. They'll have to kick this time. Just 25 metres out from their own line. They do, but straight down the neck of QLT, who's up to speed quickly and bringing it back to them with interest. Johnny Pownell.
Good tackle.
Got a pounding there, did Johnny. Liam Kay.
Boy, Dallimore putting himself about here, making plays, making
Penkovic
tackles.
at dummy half. Goes right, finds Whiting. Up to the 30-metre line. 3 to go. Fleming. Fresh legs of Dan Fleming. Penkovic again at dummy half. Inside the 10-metre. Thinking about the little grubber kick. Finds it. Well defended initially. Can they find a way out?
That's a great tackle from Fleming.
Back over there in goal area. It's a warm applause. High fives all around for the Wolfpack. They've really penned the Raiders in.
Well, the kick wasn't that great from Penkovic, only because he was on his own. Watch him thread this through, because Barrow will clean this up, so they do clean it up. The big play is from Dan Fleming, who I think is Dallimore, and he just whacks him, picks him up, and drags him back. Goal line dropout on the back of an extra effort.
It's the determination that Coach Rowley expects from his players. Warm sunshine greeting another big crowd, probably as big as we've seen. We haven't got the official number yet. We'll get that in the second half, and we'll pass that on to you as Adam Sidlow passes a couple of blue-shirted Raiders. 4 minutes unofficially to half-time as Fui Moi Moi gets the crowd to their feet. 4 to go. Penkovic at dummy half. Looks right. QLT finds Hall. Still two. QLT looking for his second score of the afternoon. He's within sight. Referee's whistle. Just lost it, I believe. Scrum down. Yeah.
Play 2. Goes into numbers. Got into 4. Good hit from the Barrow defenders. Goes to ground and lost the ball. Yeah. Good call.
Let's keep working, Jamie. Let's keep going.
New Zealand born.
Let's go. Second row's in.
Ex-Samoa international hat-trick against Barrow
Come on, boys.
back in May. Already on the scoreboard today, QLT.
Out.
Chance for Cresswell and co to bring it away in the closing minutes of the first half. 3 to go. Again, rousing defence, trying to pen them in again. Sidlow and Worthington. They don't want him out. Fleming this time gets involved.
Good offload from the Barrow player. Gets him released further down the field. Another 15 minutes.
Dan Toll did really well there. And just relieved the pressure just momentarily. Nathan Mossop. And he's going to win a penalty.
A penalty for offside.
So 6 more coming. And a chance to make good field position here. The Raiders.
Well, they've under the pump and they've handled it really well, haven't they? Only conceding the points from the penalty. Adjudicate the offside.
And they've had multiple acceptable chances to score under the Toronto sticks as well. They've really been held up, but they've made a real game of it, a real fight of it, as you would expect the top 2 teams in League One. As Mossop makes his way forward, it'll be tap and go, and 6 more for the Raiders from the 30-metre line.
Hold your line, hold.
Maybe this is the chance for the breakthrough. Mossop again at dummy half. Jordan goes for a trot. Met by Dan Fleming.
It was a tough carry from Jordan.
This time it's Dallimore. Goes right again. Can they find Loxham on this right-hand side? Liam Kay sticking into his defensive duties. So often we're excited to see him running down the touchlines and scoring, but he's got another job at this end of the field as well. As Tom Walker goes to ground. Lewis Charnock, last tackle. They're 3-4 meters away from the line. Can they get it across this time? They go long. That's Dallimore. Out to that left-hand side. They've managed to keep it alive for the time being, have they? Finally out of play.
Well, it's enterprising play from Barrow. They've gone over the top. They've kicked over the top. They're trying to find a chink in this Wolfpack defence, but not quite there yet. But they'll persevere. It's good offensive play. Had no choice but to drop the ball out there into touch.
Well, that's half a sort of basketball keeping it in play. They managed to keep the play alive, and then the ball tumbled loose and out of play.
Jamie, okay?
Jamie Dallimore, as you can see, limping away from the scene. Wallace, oh, he looked determined then.
Took off, didn't he?
He thought, I'm going for this. Stop me if you can. Well, they did. But here's QLT with those dancing, prancing, sprinkling feet.
Move! 10 metres, well done. Hold. Go.
Kay at dummy half. Up to halfway, Liam Kay. Seen more of him in midfield in this game than we would normally expect to. Usually pinned out on the wing. Penkovic at dummy half. Writing. And the referee is going to blow.
Good game of footy. Well played Barrow. Well played the Wolfpack.
Well, what an enterprising first 40 minutes has been. And Barrow don't have all their starters here, but they certainly have Brian Noble determination, they have spirit, they have fight, and I guess a little bit of revenge in their hearts for what happened back in May, and they've done a really good job to hold the Toronto Wolfpack, the league in Wolfpack, to just one try in the first 40.
They've been good. They've opened up the Wolfpack defence on a number of occasions down the Wolfpack's left-hand side as well. They just haven't managed to capitalise there, and they've defended their own line when they had to do. So they're clearly in the game, they're playing well. But the Wolfpack got an 8-point lead on the back of the smart play themselves, but they've had to defend their line too. So two closely matched teams for sure.
Just the one try in the first half. The fans are used to more than that, but full credit to the Barrow Raiders. QLT scored it. Craig Hall converted it, then added a penalty. And at half-time, the Wolfpack lead, but only just over the Raiders by 8 points to 0. We'll be right back.
Fans, get your ticket to Rasher's Bacon Sandwich Shop on the game for free check with the purchase of a sandwich. And be sure to check out the special Wolfpack sandwich and receive a ticket to a future game. All right, fans, please welcome the field for the next halftime youth rugby game, the kids from the Oakville Crusaders.
And a warm welcome back to the Den, Lamport Stadium in the heart of Liberty Village, just west of downtown Toronto. The Wolfpack looking to lock up automatic promotion against their nearest rivals, the Barrow Raiders. And it's a close game, let's put it that way. The Wolfpack lead it by 8 points to 0. Nigel Reid in the booth alongside Brian Noble. Brian, brief thoughts on that first half?
Really competitive. Barrow have aimed up and are playing well. You know, they've managed to create field position. Haven't quite got over the line yet, but will pride and prompt and press until they do. The Wolfpack have had to defend well, and the one break that they've made, they've scored from the Wolfpack.
We'll see that in just a moment. That is the nuts and bolts of the first half. QLT with his 19th try of the season. I would imagine that Paul Rowley is somewhat satisfied with what his team has seen at half-time, but he has seen some unforced errors, some handling errors from his team in the first 40.
Yeah, I think that will disappoint him as well. Yeah. I think he'll implore a little bit of more ball security, if that's the right expression. But you can't give a quality team like Barrow the kind of field position that they've got, because when they've got there, they've shown that they can open up a side. They've had to scramble really well at times as the Wolfpack defence, and I suppose in essence they'll be doing too much of it. But that's full credit to Barrow. They're a really good team, and they've come with emphasis.
Well, here let me show you some highlights, and just the one score in the first half. Here's Craig Hall going for a run before he got grabbed round the neck. The only try of the first half coming from this man, QLT, backing his speed and his agility to get over in the corner, Brian.
Yeah, that was on the back of just getting on the outside. Jared Stack's worried about the inside player and takes a step inside, and unfortunately can't quite match the speed in essence. Craig Hall kicking his goals as well. That's from the try. And here's Barrow punching away, and they've had a couple of opportunities here. Cresswell goes through, and if you got close that ball in, Stagg, you'd have to back him getting over the line. And here again down this left-hand side of the Wolfpack, Morrow goes clean through, nobody on his shoulder, and it's a great break from him. And Liam Kay and QLT have to scramble to make the play. And again on this left-hand side, the kick play there with the knock-on adjudicated from Bezic, which is a right call. And then another kick play on this right-hand side that Worthington and Kay have to be on top of their game to clean up. So, enterprising play from Barrow.
Well, Liam Kay certainly has. We've seen more defence from him possibly in this game than we have in any other game so far this season. And sometimes that's what's expected, that's what you're supposed to do. But just a number of illustrations there of just how close the Raiders have been to getting over the try line.
I think Jake Emmett got lucky there because he dropped that. But penalty adjudicated, and Craig Hall duly obliges, which gives them the eight points separation.
That, of course, is important. It's a two-score game. If you count the points in terms of the try, this was almost the third try. Craig Hall couldn't quite, just the fingertips. He needed his fingertips just to be a little bit longer, but they weren't on this occasion, and that's why we have this close half-time score, which reads the Wolfpack 8 and the Barrow Raiders 0. We'll be back soon with the second half. Just after 5:30 in the afternoon in Toronto, around 10:30 in the evening back in the UK. Wherever you're watching, we are delighted you're there and watching a very exciting game. A game that could mean the difference between automatic promotion and the semi-finals. One of these teams you fancy will gain automatic promotion. Right now it's the Wolfpack as the She-Wolves prepare to take the stage. and entertain the crowds. Now, Brian, we talk about some of the outstanding performers this season. As it turns out, they're all on the field today. The Player of the Year nominees announced this week: Bob Bezic, Craig Hall, and Joe Bullock. Thoughts on the nominations? I mean, you could pick a bunch more, but you can only have so many nominees.
Well, I think Craig Hall is self-explanatory. To score 24 tries and 156 goals, I can't even have the numbers up. So he's broken every points record you've ever seen.
He went through 400 last week,
yeah,
you'll recall.
Yeah, so 400, wow. A whole club sometimes doesn't score 400 in a season. He's done that. Bob Bezic, Mr. Industrious, but Joe Bullock's in there. Because you see what you get on the tin. He's out there today. He's smashing into this Toronto Wolfpack line, and he's done that all season for Barrow. So it's a great recognition for him as well, and thoroughly deserved. He's a top-line front rower.
4th season with the Raiders. By the way, it's his 99th appearance in a Barrow jersey today, and 8 tries for Joe Bullock so far this season. This is an indication of recent form in the Super 8s, and as you can see, the Raiders have actually done better than the Wolfpack. The Raiders are 5-0 in the Super 8s, wins at Whitehaven, Doncaster, Newcastle, York and Workington. And the Wolfpack, well, they just slipped a little below their own standards, but they've got it together, certainly, Brian, over the last couple of days, or last couple of weeks since they've come back. Well, and now they've
first and
got
foremost
those 2 home games to finish off.
This Barrow team is that winning is habit forming, and so is losing. So once you treat them with the respect that they deserve, they're a thoroughly good team, and they've won their last 5 games. They've won predominantly every game they've played in League One. So they're a super team and a super outfit, and with a good squad and well coached, really well coached. And yes, there's been a couple of stumbles along the way in the playoffs for the Wolfpack, but there's nothing like a playoff game of this magnitude to focus the mind and focus the attention to try and get back to your best kind of form. And we've seen a great scrap this afternoon, and I'm confident we'll be the same in this second half.
York City Knights, the only team to topple the Wolfpack so far this season. The Cougars managed a tie against them. The Wolfpack are unbeaten here at Lamport Stadium, and they are 40 minutes away from another victory, and a victory which would be a defining moment for this expansion club. It would mean automatic promotion to the championship for the 28th season, as the She-Wolves entertain the fans. The Wolfpack lead by 8. Will be back with the second half in just a couple of moments. 40 minutes away from history. Paul Rowley, the head coach, the mastermind behind the operation, picks the team and the tactics, knows his Toronto Wolfpack, his expansion team, containing many of his former lead Centurions, are that close. They can just about see the finishing line here at Lamport Stadium in the shadow of the CN Tower. Nigel Reid and Brian Noble in the booth. Toronto Wolfpack in white jerseys, black shorts, unbeaten at the Den, as Craig Hall prepares to get this second half underway against the second placed Barrow Raiders, all in blue, who've kept it as tight as any visiting team so far in the first 40 minutes. Brian's thoughts on what the respective coaches might have said to their teams at half-time?
Hold your line.
Well, I think Paul Creary will be really pleased with what Barrow have dished up. Maybe a little bit more on the execution front in attack. If they've been a bit more clinical, they got over the line. And I think for the Wolfpack, I think Paul Rowley will have mentioned, look after the ball.
Certainly wasn't always the case in the early going, but it got a little more fluent as the half wore on.
That's a 40-20. That's a brilliant kick.
Well, now, we don't often see a 40-20, so you've got about 10 seconds to explain why that's important to the Raiders.
Well, if you kick the ball from inside your own 40 metres and it goes out, having hit the field of play within the 20, it's a tap here. You're seeing a quick tap and field position to the attacking team. Great kick.
And they're getting on with it. Very rarely see it, but they're that close again. James Jordan knocking on the door. Sean Penkovic prevented him going any further, but maybe Tom Walker can get in here. Can they keep him on his back? 3 tackles gone, but a bright start to the second half by the Raiders.
Barrow. Great kick, great start.
Looking to get over. They've held him up on his back once again. Back to the 10-metre line.
Scramble real hard here, the
Wolfpack. 2 to go.
Great attack from Barrow.
It's Dan Toll, one of the 2 Toll Raiders. Now Tom Walker again, just trying to barrel his way through. Stretched out that left arm. He's no more than a foot short. It's all gone very quiet in the Den for a moment, and QLT dives on the loose ball.
Scramble. They're under the pump here. Wolfpack.
Well, chance for an exit strategy, but from very deep. And an impressive start. Fui, moi, moi. Dives outside his own 10-metre line. And a little bit of relief. Johnny Pownell finds Andrew Dixon. Picking it up one-handed was Craig Hall out for Liam Kay.
Good tackle.
Who's beaten down by Tom Loxham. Sidlow. The kick ahead by Blake Wallace. It's going to just dribble away into touch on that far side. Well,
great
dramatic
play,
start.
Great 40-20, great attacking play. Held up over the line 3 times, do everything but score. And then the scramble from the Wolfpack to get themselves out of their own half. Good footy.
Really good footy. Loxham picks up the ball, will bring it in field, but again, dangerous moments. And again, great credit to Barrow. And whatever Paul Creary, himself a nominee for Coach of the Year for the 2nd year running. He says, I don't need a trophy. He says, I just need my players to trust me and respect me. And they certainly do that. And they're certainly putting a shift in for him. The stack is upended. Whiting. Was he there a little bit too long? Mossop.
Yeah,
away they come left.
Clearly had an impression at half-time, Paul Creary. The cute cookie that he is, he's got them pumping and pounding and making breaks, playing really well, this Barrow team in the second half.
Interesting words from Paul Creary amongst that in terms of praise of his team, but also the fact that, don't forget, all these Barrow Raiders are part-time players, as is Paul Creary, who said, having been in May for the trip, he probably wouldn't come for the second trip because he's having to give up time himself. Whistle's gone, so Liam Kay, well, Liam Kay's going, but the whistle is going to stop him. None of this is going to count. They think he scored, but the referee's 70 metres away, and he blew his whistle 2 or 3 times, and Liam Kay just kept going. But it's not going to count, I don't think. Back on the Toronto 30-metre line, a long way away from where Liam Kay was ready to celebrate.
2 or 3 Barrow players there. They've done the 80 metres there.
They did.
Adjudicating there. Greg Worthington adjudicating, knocked the ball forward, so all that effort in vain. Liam Kay going the distance and 3 Barrow players chasing him. There's a adjudicator there. That's when Worthington's knocked on. And so it's ball back, head and feet to Barrow.
Credit Liam Kay. He did what any athlete,
the whistle.
He plays to the whistle.
Play to the whistle.
And it wasn't until he was 30 or 40 metres away that Mr. McMullen did blow the whistle, and then he had to blow it 2 or 3 times, and Liam Kay went over anyway, just for the cameras perhaps. But it didn't count. Here's Jared Statney's hoping that something will count at the other end. Lively start by both teams to the start of this second half. Here goes Walker to the edge of the 10-metre line. 4 tackles to go. Barrow have been knocking on the door on multiple occasions. Can they get across? They're 2 tries behind, but they're not by any means out of this game. Wiper needs a little bit of help. Comes inside, finds it from Brad Crellin. Referee's whistle.
Dropped the ball there, the Barrow player. Looked like they were squeezing to get over the line. Tackle underneath from Penkovic and Sidlow.
Crellin just drops the ball.
Just,
You're absolutely right.
Drops the ball.
Under the challenge of Sidlow and 1 or 2 others. Penkovic and Dan Fleming was there as well.
Gary Wheeler on the bench for from the Wolfpack, replacing Rhys Jacks.
And away they come with Greg Worthington brought to his knees. Penkovic a dummy half as the Wolfpack look for an exit strategy out left, and that's Liam Kay territory. Penkovic again, that's awkward over the head of Fleming. Just about got away with it. It wasn't very pretty. But Gary Wheeler was a dangerous ploy. Fui, fui, moi, moi.
Well done, Barrow.
There's 4 of them on top of him.
Take a member of the crowd as well as 3 or 4 blue defenders. But it's great work from Barrow.
And half a dozen stewards. Sidlow says, get off me, let me play the ball. Referee doesn't whistle now. What's happened? Did Sidlow lose the ball?
Yep. Referee said he did.
Adam Sidlow is furious because he was trying to get up, play the ball. Have another look here.
Well, he's trying to get up.
He's trying to get up. And then when they do get off him, then the ball just goes loose right there as he puts it down. Yeah. I don't think he's very happy, Brian, somehow. Referee has the final decision, as is always the case. 3 tries so far this season for Adam Sidlow. A little bit of blood around the head of Tom Walker. Just about on halfway, just inside Toronto territory. Harpy. Harper is held. Mossop at dummy half. Referee high tackle.
I'm tall, making his presence felt in the middle. Fui hitting him around the head, so you can't do that.
Grabbed him round the neck. Referee saw it, and Fui Fui Moi Moi had no complaints. Here he comes again, right there. So penalty for Barrow. And they're going to have a kick for it. Well, this is an interesting tactic.
Well, that's an indication they think they're in the game.
No, most certainly they do.
And they are in the game.
No question about that. Lewis Charnock will presumably take the responsibility. He's scored plenty so far this season. He's 40 metres out. There he is, Lewis Charnock. Well, he's right in front of the sticks. There's no appreciable wind, Brian. It's just whether he's got the distance. You would expect a player of his ability to be able to carry the ball 40 metres, but he's kicking right up the north end of the field.
I think he'll kick this.
And a chance for the Raiders to get on the board. So Lewis Charnock, all business, all concentration. Can he keep his nerve?
Stand still.
It's all gone a little quiet around Lamport Stadium. Charnock with the kick. He's certainly got the distance and he's got the direction as well, right between the sticks. And Charnock, Lewis Charnock, who scored the only points for Barrow when they were here in May in a 70-2 pummeling, gets Barrow on the board again.
Yeah, well deserved as well. They started this second half better than the Wolfpack. Made breaks, made incisions.
And they have had, as we've mentioned, as you've been with us since kickoff, Barrow have had multiple chances to get over and score a try line. Haven't quite had it. Maybe it's a matter of that final pass. But I guess you've also got to credit the Wolfpack defence for keeping them at bay and holding them up and turning them over on their backs. 7,972 the official attendance, and that's a record for the Toronto Wolfpack, and that'll turn some heads back in the United Kingdom as well. Almost 8,000 here, 79-72 the official attendance. So great credit to the fans of both teams in rugby league, fans and the curious onlookers in general who've come out to support this game. A game which could mean so much to the Toronto Wolfpack. But it's going to be a nervous 30 minutes or so. There's only 6 points the difference. And there's certainly no indication as the ball goes dead. And it'll be a 0 tackle that there was ever going to be anything like the drubbing they received back here some months ago.
Oh, they're too good.
Yeah. Penkovic gets us underway again. Dixon, has he lost the ball?
So it was stripped.
It was stripped, as he's given the penalty the way of the Wolfpack on their own 30-metre line. So Wallace just kicks for touch. And into Barrow territory, and they'll get 6 more from halfway. Adam Sidlow carries it another 3 or 4 metres. Bezic at dummy half finds Wallace, and now Jake Emmett back on the field. Put in a good shift in the first half. Got a bit of a knock for his trouble. He's got that left arm all bandaged up. Craig Hall.
Well, they're getting numbers defensively. Barrow look very strong at all the ball at the start of this second half.
And Dallimore dragging him to the floor. Now Jack Bussey, 20 metres short. 2 to go. Bezic. And Hall is very close. QLT's not far away. Johnny Powell territory as well. But it's Wheeler.
Just pass.
And they're in here. They are in. And Blake Wallace, look what it means to him. It's been a while coming, but Blake Wallace delights the fans and relief for his teammates. Just the second try of the afternoon for Blake Wallace. And the Wolfpack have a 10-point lead.
Barrow have been the better team at the start of this second half, and it's the first time the Wolfpack have managed to get anywhere near their line. And Wheeler gives the big expansion to the pass, and he's got numbers on his outside, which enables him to take on a one-on-one and come off his left foot and finish the play himself, Blake Wallace. But that's disappointing for Barrow, because they've been the team at the start of this second half for sure.
Wallace just managed to evade 2 tacklers, and by the time Charnock got to him, it was much too little too late. The fist pump there. It's not like Wallace hasn't scored this season. He's scored plenty himself. But you can see how much that meant to him and to his teammates. 15th try of the season for Blake Wallace, and 5 tries in the Super 8s, alone. So Hall with a chance to extend that lead, and does do. 14-2 in favour of the Toronto Wolfpack. Unbeaten at Lamport Stadium the entire season.
Well, Wheeler attracts a few. Gets Blake Wallace, who Needs no introduction or no invitation, should I say, to step off that left foot and seize the hole and gets himself through.
So, having hauled themselves within 6 points with that penalty 2 or 3 minutes ago, they concede the try and the converted try. So 12 points the difference. In the blink of an eye, it's a 3-point or 3-try game again. As Cresswell prepares to kick. Long this time. Into the arms of the try scorer Wallace. Offloads to Adam Sidlow. Now, having scored the try at this juncture and given themselves a little bit of breathing room, does that change the mentality for the Wolfpack now in terms of what needs to be achieved over the next 20 minutes or so?
It wouldn't change my mentality. Rook your way to the other end of the field and try and keep the opposition down, but the opposition are that good, you might not be able to do that.
Obviously, you would expect there to be a little more urgency amongst Barrow, but you certainly couldn't accuse them of a lack of urgency or a lack of commitment or discipline throughout the game. They've really given them hard chances. Dixon makes his way forward. Down goes Dixon. One tackle to go. Bezic. QLT might go in the corner himself. Was that a high tackle?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was very high. QLT none the worse for it, but the referee saw it. Have another look.
Now watch this.
Yeah, the challenge coming in from Dan Toll. It wasn't a good challenge, let's put it that way. It was a desperate challenge from Toll. Desperate Dan, I suppose you could call him. So 6 more, and you'd expect them to score from here, for sure. And Sidlow's right there. He's being held up by 4 around him. But that's only tackle 1, and back to the 10-metre line, says Mr. McMullen. Wallace again. Rich Whiting's in. Rich Whiting says, I'll put it down on the floor now, shall I? Shall I put it down? Yes, I will. Rich Whiting touches it down. And suddenly it's 2 tries in the space of as many minutes. And Rich Whiting has 3 tries in 2 games.
Well, there's a palpable feel of relief around the ground in relation to that score. A reflection of how good Barrow have been, but Bezic goes, Wallace goes at the line. Rich Whiting was a great line in inside shoulders, and Cresswell hasn't much chance there with Richard Whiting on the fly there. So great score from the Wolfpack, and again down to Wallace. Scores 1 now, makes 1.
Scored 2 last week against Whitehaven. Another one today for Rich Whiting.
He's held together with sticky back plastic. Look at him.
He really is. But it hasn't stopped him scoring 11 tries altogether so far this season. Craig Hall from right in front of the sticks. This may well end up in the parking lot. If you've parked over there, there might be a little dent on your car. Yeah, it's out there somewhere, but no problem for Craig Hall. It's a 20 points to 2 game in favour of the top team, the Toronto Wolfpack.
Well, here see the shape. They go at the line. Wallace goes at the line, and Whiting just his partner in crime, able to finish that play.
Well, it was very, very tight before Wallace burst through 3 or 4 minutes ago. Converted by Hall. Now Whiting in. Again, the converted try. And suddenly the gap is expanding and widening in favour of the white shirts. And an expectant crowd of nearly 8,000 at Lamport Stadium. Wallace underneath it again. Another safe pair of hands. Went looking for it. Decided it was going to be his. Made it his. And brings it forward 3 or 4 metres. Bezic at dummy half. Sidlow takes over. Charnock tried to wrestle him to the ground. You get the feeling that 1 more score, Brian, might just break the spirit of Barrow. Here's Hall.
Well, they might, but I think they've got too much about them, this Barrow team. I think they'll aim up, they'll scramble.
Well, there's plenty of time. There's well over 20 minutes to play as Emmett barrels his way over halfway. Eventually 3 of them stop him. Dallimore was lying on, but not too long, according to the referee. Must have been a matter of milliseconds before the referee would penalise him. Ollie Wilkes back on the field, having had a little rest earlier on. Well, Up and under, Cresswell did well, kept his eye on the ball.
Nice catch, Cresswell. Brilliant catch. He was under a lot of pressure from Gary Wheeler. He was steaming like an express train to try and disrupt him and dislodge the ball, but great catch from Cresswell. He had a decent game, hasn't he?
He really has. And it's not his usual position. I think it's only the second time this season that Luke Cresswell has been asked to play fullback. Usually Ryan Fieldhouse is the man in possession of that jersey. But one of several of the Raiders players here. Have another for Cresswell. Eye on the ball. As soon as he'd caught it, Wheeler and others were all over him like a rash. He turned his back, backed his own ability. Over halfway, the Raiders. Last tackle. They'll have to kick this time. Charnock does, up and under. Little tester for Liam Kay in the corner, but he, like Cresswell, did well. QLT caught it in mid-flight. Dancing feet over the 30 metres. Kay at dummy half. Looking to get over halfway. Does. Oh, he may go all the way here. Well, again, good scrambling defence from Barrow. QLT at dummy half. Feeds Emmett. Emmett isn't subtle, but he is strong. Bezic. The dummy. Bussey for Sidlow. Hands it off. Wallace. Blake Wallace is in again for the Wolfpack.
Well, great play, the Wolfpack. Just showing signs of a little bit of fatigue here. Barrow on the back of the couple of scores and not having a lot of the ball. And Liam Kay bursting up the middle and Bussey bursting up the middle. Adam Sidlow's offload here. Here's the Kay break. What a break. Goes up the middle, straight up the middle. Catch me if you can. And Johnny Powell on his outside, can't quite find him. Does the right thing, plays the ball, and Bezic releases it to Jack Bussey, who puts Adam Sidlow into the hole and just flicks the ball back to Blake Wallace. Super score.
Well, it's super because they make it look very simple, but that takes hours and hours of practice and understanding. Sidlow turns there, just hands it off, knows there's someone coming. It was Wallace, and then there was no stopping the Australian. And his second try of the afternoon will certainly put him among the candidates for man of the match with 20 minutes to go. Another chance for Craig Hall. 10 metres left of the post. It's up, it's good, it's another good kick. It's 26 points to 2 in favour of the Toronto Wolfpack. And surely now, Ryan, you feel they're on their way.
Well, I think they're loading the bottles. I think the corks will be popping in about 20 minutes time, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a good season for the Wolfpack. It's been a great season for Barrow as well.
Well, we weren't sure when we arrived at the stadium whether the trophy was actually on location, because there is one more home game to come, and that's against Doncaster, and they need to fulfill the obligation of playing that game in a week's time. But it turns out that the League One Championship trophy, it looks a little like a bowl, but it's very shiny, it's very silvery, and it contains the word champions on it, is in the building as Cresswell gets us underway. And it seems as though the Toronto Wolfpack are less than 20 minutes away from raising the silverware. Bezic to Sidlow, who was instrumental in that last try. Now Bussey looking left towards Kay. Decides to go himself. Eventually 3 of them. Stop Bussey. Bezic looking left. Dixon was on hand if needed. Sidlow on halfway. Mossop and Krellin. Ollie Wilkes amongst those to impede his progress. Bezic with plenty to his left. Will grab a kick forward from Blake Wallace. Cresswell needs to watch the bouncing ball and then get away from Liam Kay. He couldn't do it. He's a metre from his own try line.
Well, they're on the front foot here, the Wolfpack.
They really are. Great energy from Liam Kay to track down Cresswell like a cheetah after his prey in the Serengeti. Hold him down. That's Harper. Been an effective player, but hasn't seen too much of the ball, particularly in this second half. Ezzy Harper.
Bullock's back on the field after stiffen this Barrow team up, which he did.
Kick is charged down. Whiting will dive on it. And it'll be 6 more inside Raiders territory. It's Rich Whiting.
It was an
Time off,
accident.
yeah.
He'll cop some knees in the back here. Diving on the ball.
Well,
Dallymore's cop for him, but I don't think it was intentional at all.
just a moment or two ago, you saw when he removed that jersey just how taped up Rich Whiting is. And 1 or 2 more knees or elbows in the back as we see the challenge. Just cannoned off Wheeler, and then Whiting put his body on the line. There you are, knees in the back. And that can be very painful.
Could be right.
Oh, I'm sure he's made of harder stuff than that. He's up, it's fine, no problem at all.
That's tackle 1. Time on, play ball.
But when you're 32,
Shoot,
gets
move, 10 meters
the aches
short.
and pains take a little longer to heal.
Hold, go.
Bob Bezic, I'm told. It's a long time since I was 32, by the way. Here goes Blake Wallace looking for his hat trick. Offloads. Might have been Worthington there. Couldn't enjoy the attentions. Bezic and Sidlow, in fact, I beg his pardon. Sidlow's pretty close, 2 tries to go. Liam Kay hurls it to his right-hand side. Now Wheeler back to the 20-meter line. Accepts the challenge from Charnock. Last tackle, I beg your pardon. Will they kick? Wallace does. Looking for Hall.
Too big.
Too much.
20 meter
goal.
restart.
Look how quick Harper wants to get on with it. Well, that's the quickest he's run all day.
Well, he's done his job there. He's got good 15 meters on the restart.
Aspinall. Again, no spring chicken himself.
He's been a great pro, Martin Aspinall. I think he's on the full-time. There are a couple of players in this Barrow team that are full-time, working in the community and things like that. For
Wigan and Huddersfield and Cass and Hull amongst his former teams, vastly experienced. Barrow loose forward.
10 meters, Richard. Back all right.
16 minutes to go. In the evening sunshine at Lamport Stadium, the den of the Wolfpack. Undefeated here for their entire expansion year. Wilkes looks to find a way around Sidlow. He's held up by him and by Whiting. Coach Rowley taking absolutely nothing for granted, looking on intently.
well, smart play there from Dallymore. He's chipped the ball through and he's got Gary Wheeler to engage him, so encourage the referee to give the penalty.
Wilkes runs into Sidlow. Bezic. Mossop at dummy half. Can they score a try? They've had multiple chances, but they haven't managed to pierce that Wolfpack try line. Was that a knock on? But to play the ball.
Well, he's dropped the ball cold. I think he hurt his ankle. I think he was hoping the ref would blow his whistle first before that happened. There seems to be a lot of hilarity about it, but he's not very happy, Martin Aspinall.
I'm sure he is. We're going to get a scrum down. That's what we're going to get at the end of all this, I think. Aspinall, another of the former Paul Rowley charges. Paul Rowley has experienced championships himself with Lee Centurions. Adam Sidlow gets some running repairs. But you get the feeling, Brian, as have you, of course. But I wonder whether this will have a different feel about it. Winning a title here in an expansion year in a new country as the sport gains momentum. I wonder whether it'll feel a little different.
Well, there's that element of pioneership, definitely.
For sure there is. Yeah.
Just the fans here have been absolutely magnificent.
Once again, if you're just joining us, the official attendance at Lamport this afternoon, 7,972. That's a new record for the Wolfpack. All we needed was 4 sheep and a couple of dogs, and we'd have been up to 8,000. Maybe if you gather in our cameramen and our fellow broadcasters and media representatives up here in the booth, we're probably there or thereabouts, I would think. Worthington under the challenge of Charnock. 15 minutes remaining, quarter of an hour stands between the Toronto Wolfpack and automatic promotion in year one. Spinall holding on to Liam Kay's ankle. Bezic runs into Mossop among others. Penkovic showing some impatience as Emmett offloads. And Gary Wheeler over halfway. Head injury, time off.
All right, jump straight up.
Yeah. Well, referee stopped it. Whenever there's a suspicion of a head injury, referee obliged to stop it. Yeah, there's a bit of a coming together there between Crellin, I think, and Wheeler. Maybe Crellin got the full force. Yeah, right there. Gosh.
That hurt me. I wasn't even involved. Yeah, didn't miss each other's, did they?
Yeah, Brad Crellin just getting the protocol. And wiping some blood away from the mouth. So time off. As Fui Moi keeps those legs just stretched out on the exercise bicycle there on the side. And I would imagine he would want to be on the field when that final hooter goes. They'll all want to be on the field. But it's only 13 at a time. Jake Emmett. It's almost a smile on his face. He just loves the challenge. Trying to burst through opponents. Wheeler with a little grubber kick or a little chip ahead, and that's not so clever, but Cresswell did well, actually, managed to evade the challenge as well.
Done well
despite the ball. He really has, for a player who's not used to playing fullback. He's done a manful job back there at the last line of the Raiders' defence. And goes Harper under the challenge of Bussey and one or two others. Halfway through the tackle count, only just outside their own 20-metre line. Could do with a break, Joe Bullock.
No nonsense, hasn't he, Bullock? That's why he's been nominated for the Player of the Year in League One.
There's just a little bit of a swagger about him, a confidence, you know, a dare in the faces of opponents, a little bit of pushing and shoving, and then the kick on the last tackle. And it'll bounce away into touch, into the shadows, as QLT keeps watch. And the minutes continue to tick away. And the home fans are perfectly happy about that.
Captain.
Captain's being called by John McMullen. What's he seen here? So this will be Wilkes and Hall. Let's have a listen.
I'm not seeing anything. So I'm going to in his eye, finger in his eye. So I'm going to put it on report. That was what the action was for. Put it on report.
Well, I didn't quite catch. I don't know whether you did, but something's being put on report. I didn't quite catch what it was.
I put it on report. That's all I can do at this point. I've seen nothing. Let's carry on with it. Hey, Bob, heads in. Jake,
May have been something. They got jabbed in the eye. We're not altogether sure. If we can get confirmation, we'll pass it on. But you heard Mr. McMullen say he certainly put something on report. It's not immediately clear. On we go with the game. Greg Worthington and Liam Kay at dummy half, always looking for a run. My goodness, he got a tackle there.
How tough Liam Kay?
A real tackle there. And now his fellow winger Johnny Powell also hauled down in midfield. Emmett for Bezic into Raiders territory. 12 minutes to go. Maybe this is what it's all about. There's Penkovic as Emmett gets up. Bussey's there as well. Now with somebody, well, that's Bussey and Carl Ashall coming together. Maybe that's what the referee was referring to. As Cresswell again keeps his eye on the ball and does well to hold it under pressure from Craig Hall.
He's had some catching practice this afternoon, hasn't he, Luke Cresswell?
He really has. Harper, it'll take 3 to stop him. But he's back on his own 10-metre line. Harper again. Beg your pardon, that's Max Wiper. This is Harper.
Well, they're trying to give their forwards a rest. Everybody's worked hard this afternoon in blue jumper and a white jumper.
Marshall goes right. Bullock, release him, says the referee. They do eventually. Now the kick ahead on the last tackle. Kay's underneath it. Over his shoulder, did really well. Because he might have had the sun in his eyes as well. And then belts into Ashall and 1 or 2 others. QLT dragged down by Danny Morrow. Kerry dummy half feeds Pownall. Looking for that break again. And you just get the feeling that sooner or later there'll be another gap. And the likes of Kay and Pownall don't need an invitation.
This block doesn't.
Here we are, Craig Hall didn't get the bounce of the ball. Cresswell dragged into touch. Well, you can never predict the way the egg is going to bounce, and it didn't bounce kindly for Craig Hall on that occasion.
Not adjudicated to of the penalty there. Referee says you can't drag him into touch. Smart kick, doesn't get the bounce of the ball. You're quite right, can't run onto it. Cresswell cleans the play up. Who's he tackled?
So, penalty. And Raiders initially kicked for position. 6 more. But they're still deep in their own territory as Carl Ashall tries to make some hard yards. Or hard meters, as we have to now refer to it.
They're hard, whatever they are now.
They are hard. They're all hard. They're all well earned. Gary Wheeler with the tackle. Wiper. Harper there for company. They're all going to end up in touch. 10 minutes to go at Lamport Stadium as the shadows begin to lengthen across the Den. 24 points the difference.
Well, it's a tough play on the short side, this. Wiper wants a crack at Hall, but Hall's up to it. Gets help from Gary Wheeler as well and barrels him into touch. Head and feed to the Wolfpack. 30 metres from the Barrow goal line.
Momentary pause. So they were ready to pack down because we didn't have a ball apart from anything else. We have one now. Take your time doing up your bootlaces there. Just time to get some air in the lungs in the latter stages of the game. Wheeler with the put in. Penkovic goes left for Wallace. And now it's Liam Kay. Liam Kay dragged into touch. That's a good tackle. Really good tackle, because Liam Kay, we've seen it so often this season. Once he gets up to high speed, he's got a way of evading those challenges. But it was a really good tackle in the end.
Full credit. Absolutely. Loxham gets back and
he does.
Makes the meters on Kay and barrels him into touch.
Yeah, Tom Loxham.
That's no mean effort.
Ex-Royal Marine, you'd expect no less from Tom Loxham. First appearance since June. Still learning his trade after leaving the armed forces. But he did a job there on Liam Kay. There's no question about that. Here is Loxham again. Took 3.5 of them to stop him. Up to just about his own 20-metre line. Cresswell makes 5-6 more metres. Ashall.
Hold your line. Hold. Go.
Approaching halfway. And then the ball goes loose. And that could be costly. Jack Bussey, referee's whistle's gone. Time off, says the referee. There was another injury there.
I don't know what happened here. So
Dallimore got
You're right, Jamie.
from Bussey, yeah. Just as Bussey turned, I'm not sure there was any intent, but there was a loose elbow certainly on Dallimore, right on halfway. And so time off again, says the referee, as Jamie Dallimore, 8 tries so far for the standoff this season, gets to his feet. Just about 8 minutes to play. No permanent damage, just bumps and bruises along the way. And Jamie Dallimore understands with his experience that that's all part and parcel of the game. Well, maybe something else being ruled on report there. Maybe the referee decided that Jack Bussey did mean something. So QLT with the put in this time. Penkovic goes left, finds Greg Worthington. 6 more for the Wolfpack. Worthington, arm in the face, get me down if you can. Well, 4 of them eventually they'll drag him to his knees. I've been amazed this season watching Greg Worthington. He's so difficult to put on his backside. Emmett finds QLT, and then a little handoff to Craig Hall in the lengthening shadows. QLT again, Johnny Pownall. They're keeping it alive the best they can.
Full credit to Barrow there.
Craig Hall, Van Penkovic, Hall gives chase, and then it's knocked on, I think, by Craig Hall and into touch.
Sean Penkovic trying to thread the needle down the short side, gets a ricochet off the Barrow defender and out into touch. Head and feet to.
No, it was indeed. Yeah, I thought the first time, in real time, it was apparent to me that Craig Hall got the last touch, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I think he did.
Sometimes
it's a Barrow head and feet here. I think the came off the Barrow legs into Hall.
Maybe I'm not going blind, not just yet. It is. It'll be Dallimore putting it on, I think, once we get back to the pack down. Out we go. So they do through Ashall. Referee's whistle's gone again. It's another penalty to the Raiders.
Smart play from Barrow. Still going on with this game. Lots of pride about their performance today.
Dallimore kicks long. Gets good distance on the kick as well. Up to the Wolfpack 30-metre line. Maybe, just maybe, there's a little more than consolation for them to come. That's Morrow as they come left again. Making the run is Aspinall.
Good carry, Martin Aspinall.
Charner. Wheeler affecting the challenge against Dallimore.
He's good since he came on, Gary Wheeler. Dallimore couldn't quite hang on to the ball, acknowledging that to his teammates there.
Trainer's on the field again, or physio's on the field as well as the referee. Just a smidge over 6 minutes to play. 24 points the difference. And despite a bright start to the second half by the Raiders, the tries have gone the way of the Wolfpack, with Wallace with a couple and Rich Whiting with his 3rd try in less than 2 games now. Was Aspinall, was that a pass horizontal with the legs? Referee certainly awarding the penalty.
No, I think we said it was high.
And Fleming back with us. Over halfway. And a chance now to profit. Penkovic quickly on with it, feeds the returning Dan Fleming. Well picked up this time by Wheeler, and then it all goes horribly wrong. It's a loose ball. It's there to be won, is it?
Yeah, he's knocked down by Oliver Wilkes.
Well, look who's come down to join the party.
Easy man, fellas, let's keep working.
Paul Rowley usually sits on high, away from
Feels that way, actually, doesn't it?
the glaring eyes, but I think even he now,
Let's keep working,
just his
boys.
body language suggests to me, Brian, that he knows the jig is probably up for the Raiders and that his team has done enough to win this one. Still 5 minutes to play though.
Yeah.
Heads in, please, Pinky.
But it would take a gargantuan meltdown by the Wolfpack to allow the Barrow Raiders back into this. Reminding you that a win today, even a tie, would be enough to clinch the League One trophy. Worthington is felled by 3 with 4.5 minutes to go.
Play, Greg, well done.
Away they go. Referee's blown his whistle.
Penkovic knocked on then.
So the result, of course, is a penalty to the Barrow Raiders. Midway inside their own half of the field.
Come on, boys, let's keep working. Let's keep on.
The celebrations, muted as they are at the moment, have begun in and around the environs
Head in, Joe.
of the Wolfpack bench. They know they can see the finishing line now,
One,
and there's nothing
hold,
that the Raiders can do, including Hezzy Harper, to stop them.
two,
They will continue their unbeaten home stand the whole of the way through 2017. Just that one loss all year against the York City Knights, the opening match of the Super 8s. Keighley Cougars managed to hold them to a tie,
stand with me. Hold,
but every
hold,
other team has been
hold,
vanquished. And Barrow heading for their second defeat at Lamport Stadium.
stand.
Well, they will emerge from this game, whatever the result, with much credit. That's going to run dead, and it'll be a 0 tackle, an extra tackle if you like, because the ball ran too long from Dallimore.
I'm just laughing at the old stage of Richard White in there. He's saying, calm down, everybody. Don't be doing a quick restart. I've got a Bruce birth certificate, so I need to get through this game.
Take your time, Dixon doing just that. QLT at dummy half. They go right. It's all pretty academic now. They're ready for the party to start at the north end of this stadium, where all the craft beer tents are situated. As Gary Wheeler and his teammates will go over and celebrate with the fans and maybe sample some of those craft ales in the next 10 minutes or so.
Hold, hold, go.
The finishing post is in sight for the white jerseys of the Toronto Wolfpack.
Hold, go.
Penkovic for Bussey. There's Whiting inside him. He had to change his jersey. Doesn't have a number on the back anymore. Usually at 17. Harper lets it go into touch.
Come down here, boys.
Well, everybody's just waiting for the end now, waiting for the clock to go to that 80-minute mark or there or thereabouts. There's a few Wolves in attendance.
Well, there are. Watch their step with the local constabulary alongside, but the mood, as it always here, Brian, very jovial. And everybody waiting for the celebrations, which are just 90 seconds away. Whatever happens now, as we mentioned, is purely academic. Harper doesn't think so. He still wants to get himself
Barrow thinks so.
on the scoring
That's
chart.
a credit to them.
It is a credit to them.
Too long, Gary.
Too long. Wheeler laying on in the tackle.
Behind him, Martin. Behind him, boys.
Back you go. So 6 more. Dallimore will get it as far downfield as he can. Doesn't actually make halfway, but that's okay. 6 more from around about the halfway mark. Maybe chance for a little bit of consolation as Joe Bullock, one of the men of the match, gets involved. And while we're talking about men of the match, Brian, it's time for you to make a decision on that today.
Well, there's been important contributions, some Sidlow at different times, and Wallace with his couple of scores. And the man of the match for me today has been Liam Kay on the wing. When it was tough against this great Barrow team, he showed up. When it wasn't, he'd shown up as well. So all his carries in and around the middle, Liam Kay has capped off a fantastic season for the club by having a great performance today.
Hall with the interception, kicks it away. A little bit of footy from the Wolfpack captain. And Liam Kay, as Dallimore puts his foot in touch, and the referee says thanks very much. And Toronto Wolfpack can celebrate now. They are officially the Kingston Press League One champions. They are unbeaten at home. They cannot now be caught. They will receive the trophy. And as Liam Kay and Craig Hall celebrate, they have beaten the Barrow Raiders to clinch the championship and automatic promotion by 26 points to 2. Brian Noble.
Yeah, culmination of a tough performance today, needed to be against this good Barrow team, and just had enough quality in that second half to pull away, even though Barrow started the second half on fire. And you have to say that over the course of the season, the Wolfpack deserve this championship and this League One title, and will carry a lot of confidence next year into the championship, a league above, and the people of North America and Toronto will see the higher standard of football for their Wolfpack team.
Nearly 8,000 in attendance. The Wolfpack rallied the fans. Paul Rowley can finally smile because he knows that the Wolfpack cannot be caught. Whatever happens in the final round of the Super 8s, they are guaranteed automatic promotion, and the Barrow Raiders and Whitehaven and York and Doncaster will have to battle it out for that second promotion spot. But you'd have to say in 10 seconds that Rugby League has arrived in Canada, and it's certainly made an impression, Brian.
It's made a huge impression, qualified by the crowd today. I think it's been an unbelievable season, and it's enthused the game of rugby league to this great continent.
And so Liam Kay and his teammates celebrate League One Championship trophy, automatic promotion to the championship in 2018. Toronto Wolfpack, unbeaten at the Den, have beaten the Barrow Raiders by 26 points to 2. It has been a privilege, it's been a pleasure. From Brian Noble, Nigel Reid and our entire Toronto crew, thanks so much for watching.
Cheers, Specs.
We got Janae, the DJ, spinning tunes. We got craft beer, Jack Daniels, Savannah Club Rub, and most importantly, the Toronto Wolfpack. The Toronto Wolfpack would like to thank all fans for coming to tonight's match at Lamport Stadium, and we remind you